Wild warriors charging off wooden ships, wearing giant helmets with big horns, ready to destroy everything in sight. It is a super famous image, right? But what if I told you almost everything we think we know about the Vikings is actually wrong? For starters, they never actually wore horned helmets. That was completely made up by costume designers hundreds of years later. So, who were these people, really? Let's travel back about 1200 years ago to a place called Scandinavia, which is modern-day Denmark, Norway, and Sweden. The people living there did not even call themselves Vikings. To go a Viking actually meant to go on an overseas trip for trading or raiding. It was a job description, not the name of a whole culture. Most of the people back then were actually just normal farmers, fishermen, and craftsmen who wanted to take care of their families. But why did some of them decide to hop onto ships and start raiding other countries? Well, the land back home was really rocky and tough for farming, and the population was growing fast at the same time. They became absolute masters at building ships. They invented these incredible, long wooden boats called longships. These boats were a massive deal because they were super fast, could handle the rough ocean waves, and were flat enough to sail right up shallow rivers. This meant they could surprise people by sailing right into inland towns before anyone even knew they were coming. The whole Viking Age kicked off in the year 793. A bunch of these longships showed up out of nowhere at a peaceful monastery on a small island called Lindisfarne in England. The monks there had no weapons and no idea what was hitting them. The raiders took all the gold, silver, and treasures they could find and sailed away. This sent shockwaves through Europe. To the people living in England and France, these raiders seemed like terrifying monsters who came from across the sea just to destroy things. Because the victims of these raids were the ones who wrote down the history books. The Vikings got a terrible reputation as mindless brutes. But they were actually incredibly smart and cultured. They traveled much farther than just England. They sailed all the way to Russia, went down into the Mediterranean Sea, and traded with massive empires in Constantinople and Baghdad. They exchanged furs and amber for beautiful silks and silver coins. They were some of the greatest explorers in human history. In fact, a famous explorer named Leif Erikson actually landed in North America 500 years before Christopher Columbus ever did. If you want more fact videos in easy-to-understand English, subscribe below. Back home, their society was surprisingly advanced too. While women in many parts of Europe had almost no rights, Viking women could own property, ask for a divorce, and run the family farms while the men were away at sea. Some women even fought as warriors, which people called shield maidens. They also cared a lot about how they looked. Archaeologists have dug up tons of Viking combs, tweezers, and ear cleaners. They actually bathed regularly and bleached their hair with special soap because blonde hair was the trendy look back then. They also had an awesome culture filled with stories. They did not write books, so they passed down their history through spoken poems and tales called sagas. They believed in a whole family of powerful gods. You probably know some of them, like Odin, the wise one-eyed father god, and his son Thor, the god of thunder who carried a giant hammer. They believed that if a warrior died bravely in battle, they would be taken to a magical, massive hall called Valhalla, where they would feast and fight forever. Eventually, the Viking way of life started to fade away around the year 1066. After nearly 300 years of exploring and raiding, things changed. Many Vikings started settling down in the places they had raided, like England and France, and became part of the local communities. At the same time, Christianity spread into Scandinavia, and the old kings decided it was better to build stable kingdoms and trade peacefully rather than going on wild raids. So, the next time you think of a Viking, do not just picture a scary guy in a horned helmet. Think of the incredible sailors, the brave explorers, and the clever traders who completely changed the map of the world. Thanks for watching.